Good morning, everyone. It's been a crazy weekend in the NBA. Paul George decides to opt in and join or stay with Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City, which I can commend, I can respect. He didn't want to leave his homeboy hanging. Real loyalty out that boy. I see that. I respect that very much. But the big headline that's going on right now is that LeBron James has decided to leave the Cleveland Cavaliers and join the Los Angeles Lakers. That's tough. That's tough for real. I can only imagine how that conversation went with Magic Johnson. He was like, "Look, you're a mogul, you're an icon, but there's still another level that you can get to. You've plateaued in Cleveland. If you come to the West Coast, the road there may be more difficult, but the expectations will not be as critical as it is in Cleveland. In Cleveland, if LeBron James had stayed in the East, regardless of what team he had went to, it was championship or bust. Championship or bust. Either you win a championship or you're bust. Every time you go to the finals and lose, it's going to be a slash against you as being anything close to Michael Jordan. But if you come to LA, everybody knows that LA is a young team. There's more competition out here. We want you to win. You're not expected to win. There's a difference. We want you to win because you're great, but you're not expected to. We don't expect you to beat the Warriors. You have the Warriors, the Rockets, Oklahoma, the Pelicans. Like there's a San Antonio. There's many hurdles that you have to go through in order for you to actually win a championship here. On top of that, your roster is young. You know what I'm saying? So you have inexperienced players that have no clue of the rigors of the playoffs. I've seen when I first started watching basketball about 18 years ago. God damn. You could see first round of the playoffs, like the level of competition stiffens up. Game one, defense is harder. They're game planning, they're pulling, they're tugging, the referees are letting calls slide. Like Lonzo Ball's not about. He couldn't handle Patrick Beverly. He's not about that life. He's not ready yet. He's not ready. Brandon Ingram, he's okay, still skinny. And we don't even know if he's still going to be there. I would keep him there. I would just ride with these young boys. And Kuzma, of course, I fuck with him. I fuck with Russell. Like, they have some young horses. Russell probably be the only player, maybe Kuzma, maybe ready for the playoffs right now. Body-wise. They physical, they good to go. IQ-wise, Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, they good IQ-wise. But anyways, nevertheless, the playoffs is another jungle in its own. Now you're in the West, wild, wild West, where you can win 50 games and still not make the playoffs. You can win 45 games in the West and still not make the playoffs in the West. In the East, probably the third seed, maybe the second. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I'll probably say fourth. But, it's much easier to be successful in the East than it is the West. So LeBron James chose a harder path to the finals. We can respect that. If Magic Johnson told LeBron James, look, if you win a championship here in LA, your third team winning a championship, they're going to reopen that book. Because right now, boom, closed. You, compared to Michael Jordan, that conversation is dead. Now we may do something with you competing with Kobe, who's better at it, you two. But that Michael Jordan conversation is kaput. Bow! Slam that book. That conversation is fucking dead. But if you win a championship in LA, you crack open that book, it's gonna feel to dust it off because you're not winning this year. But you win in the next 4 years. 4 years, you crack that book back open and be like, okay, let's see. You know what I'm saying? Like we may because by the time he wins a championship in LA, which would be not next year, maybe the year after that, or if not next year, probably after they get Kawhi Leonard. Because Paul George signed for 3 years, so he's signed, sealed, and delivered to OKC, and gave him a discount. And so if they get Kawhi Leonard, which would be the following year, maybe they take them a year to gel, and the year after that they win. We don't know if there's going to be any health issues with the Rockets or chemistry issues with the Warriors. Klay Thompson may be one of his own shine now. We don't know how that's going to go. But if you win, but by that time in 2 years, LeBron James is going to be patting stats. You know what I'm saying? And at least, and the thing is, this the LA roster he has right now is better than the roster he had in Cleveland. He drugged them, kicking and screaming like babies. Okay, all the way to the finals. And the roster that he's with right now, granted they're younger, inexperienced, are more talented than the roster he just left. So you add a piece like Kawhi Leonard, you let them gel. Showtime Lakers is back 2.0 or 3.0, because you know you had the Magic era, then you had the Kobe era, Kobe had 2 eras, then Shaquille O'Neal, whatever. This would be version number 4. But you have LeBron James, like a monster in his own right, and you add him with a bunch of young horses, young thoroughbreds, young thoroughbreds with LeBron James. All they're gonna be doing is running. And at least with this roster, at least with this young roster, even though they're not experienced, their basketball IQ and their hunger is strong. Because I know they're not giving up Kuzma. You have Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, and Russell. Those two can maintain your offense. If LeBron James goes to, like with Cleveland, LeBron went to the bench, he couldn't sit a minute. You got to throw him back in the game, regular season or playoffs. But with the LA Lakers, LeBron James can sit and he can be entertained. But let's let the young kids do them. Lonzo Ball maintain the offense. Kuzma maintain the offense. Russell, I honestly don't believe if they get, if they don't get Kawhi Leonard, then Brandon Ingram's going to be there. So let's plug that one in. LeBron James go sit down. You got Brandon Ingram's, Lonzo Ball, Kuzma, and Russell on the floor going. They can maintain the offense. They'll do it way better. They'll do it better than the Cleveland did. So honestly, in my opinion, that was a good move. That was a good move. And I mean, I honestly would have liked him to go back to Miami. It would have seemed less mercenary. He would have been a mercenary, but mercenary-esque, I guess, if he had went to Miami. But Pat Riley's a prideful man, and he wasn't going to gut the roster for LeBron James. Like, you already pulled a stunt on me. I'm not Dan Gilbert. I'm not easy quick to forgive. You pulled a stunt and you dipped on me. You forced me to start throwing money in places and players I didn't want to spend money on when I wanted to spend it on you. So, I mean, if you want to come, you want to come, but I'm not going to break my back to get you over here or whatever. Honestly, if he had went to Miami, he probably would have gone to the finals again. But that's just my personal opinion, you know. I mean, honestly, I'm not really just a LeBron James fan. I am a Dwayne Wade fan, ride or die. But I mean, I do enjoy watching LeBron James play, and now he's on the West, and I'm from Houston, Texas. I'll be able to watch him more, which I haven't really got a chance. I've seen LeBron James play before, but now I'll be able to watch him more because the Rockets play the Lakers about 4 times a year. So, I mean, anyone that's on the West Coast is going to be more excited because now you get more of a chance to see LeBron James play. Because when you're on East Coast, West Coast, you only play him twice. Once on the West, once on the East, and that's it. So now us on the West Coast get a better chance to see him more. The power has severely shifted to the West Coast. Now we have to really start considering 16 teams, the best 16 teams in the NBA. Like, for real now. Like, right now, that needs to be a serious conversation in the next CBA. Like, now we need to start, like, because now you have arguably 12 teams that there are playoff teams that should make it, but they won't because only 8 in the East and 8 in the West. And if you want to run them down real quick, I mean, cause regardless of what the team looks like, LeBron James is making the playoffs. Don't you ever get that fucked up. So you have Warriors, Rockets, Pelicans, New Orleans, Dallas, OKC, Denver's a possibility, San Antonio's a possibility. No, you can't say Sacramento. Of course, LA. I forgot how many teams that was. But I mean, overall, if you run the teams down, we got at least 12 teams in the West that are better than 8 teams in the East. I mean, if you run it down like that, I probably named maybe 7 or 8 teams right now. Then you throw in maybe from the East, Boston, Toronto, Washington, maybe Miami will make it, Philly. I mean, those, and to be honest with you, those would be the bottom tier teams. Those would be on the bottom tier. Maybe Boston may be up there because of their record, but I mean, in Toronto, outside Boston, Toronto, and Philly, they'll be in the mix. They by far wouldn't be at the top. And East playing West. Honestly, I don't see if let's plug that in. If they ran a 16 top teams, regardless of East and West, I don't think maybe Boston will be a team that may make it to the second round. Maybe, I don't know. But I don't see Boston beating 2 teams from the West in the playoffs. If they ran that. Toronto, no. So, Washington, hell no. Beating a team from the West? Let's play that. Would Boston beat the Rockets in a 7-game series? No. Would Boston beat the Warriors in a 7-game series? No. Would Boston beat who is it? New Orleans in a 7-game series? No. Toronto, would they beat any of those 3 teams? No. Would Boston beat Oklahoma City in a 7-game series? No. So none of those teams in the East really can fuck with the West. They can't. It sounds good. It looks good on paper. But they're not going to beat any of those teams in the West. You're drunk. No, you're not. So, but at least it'd be a compelling playoffs. Straight up. It would. I would like to see just the top 16 teams go at it. Like, what's popping? What's going on right now? Let's make shit pop. Like, no games. Like, you got your teams. The best, truly now, the best of the best are in the playoffs. If you were scrubbed, see you next year. You didn't play well, see you next year. You didn't draft well, see you next year. But if you do that, like, things will. And Adam Silver needs to do, like, he's a players commissioner, which I respect. He's more in tune with the community and his philanthropy and as far as, like, not being a pompous asshole. But he hasn't made a significant splash for his regime. For his regime, if he 16, he will forever be cemented as one of the best commissioners ever. He drops, boom. No more East and West. All 16 teams, the best of the best. Let's do it. For sure, he will go down as one of the best commissioners of all time. We'll see. Don't know. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, I enjoy watching a LeBron James career unfold. I really hope he makes it long enough to be in the NBA with his son, because that will be another milestone. The first player ever to play basketball long enough to play ball with his actual son. That will be great. That'd be live. LeBron James has had some good. He's had some bad. But it's always fun to watch. It's like a Beyonce song. It's a sweet dream and a beautiful nightmare. Either way, I don't want to wake up from you. All right, y'all have a good day. Take care.